Hi, my good people. So today I want to start a series and to show you how to grow azolla in containers. So I have already made a setup. It is going to be a series of videos that we're going to be doing for a period of like the next 1 month, because given the weather right now it is very cold. So I'm guessing it is going to take a little bit longer, given that it is cold and azolla likes a warm environment for it to thrive better and to grow vigorously. So we are going to take at least a month for this video to complete. Now today I have made a setup. As you can see, we have our containers there, from the orange one to the smallest, that is the green basin over here. And then I have a few things that I want to show you, the materials that we are going to use in this container azolla gardening strategy, right? Yeah, so we have the materials that we are going to be using, and I'm going to show you one of them one by one. So one of the things, now let me start here. So one of the things that we have here is the manure from cow dung, or from cows, the cow waste, and it is properly decomposed. So as you can see, it is properly decomposed. This is a kasuku that is 2 kgs. Yeah, this is a 2 kg kasuku, and this one we are going to put in that orange container. We also have, this is also manure. I have put it inside of this bag. I'm also going to put that in a bag. So this is a bag that I'm going to dip into the second container, that white container that we are going to mix with another fertilizer. So this one I have put it here so that it to reduce the amount of time that I'm going to take to clean up the mess. You know, when you put it in that way that it is not in a bag, it is going to throw up all the dirt everywhere. But when you put it like this, it is not going to throw dirt everywhere. It is going to be easier to control, because for instance, azolla, when it is having too much fertilizer, the azolla starts to change color into something that is not likable. So we can just reduce the amount of manure inside of this. So this we are going to use in the second container. And then we have another manure which is also in a bag, also in a smaller size. So the size of, or the amount of manure that you're going to be putting in your containers is going to depend on the size of the container. As you can see, in our biggest container, which is now the orange one there, I'm going to put 2 kgs of manure. Kasuku, this kasuku, 2 kgs, this is enough for that. And if it is going to be more than that, I mean, if it is going to be too much, I'm just going to reduce the amount of manure. Okay, so the smaller or the bigger the container, the bigger the manure. The smaller the container, the smaller the manure. Because if you over fertilize, it tends to grow algae, which is going to disturb your azolla from growing healthy, and it is not a good idea. Now the next thing that we have is this. This is called humic acid, black earth or humic acid. So this is from Osho Chemicals, but it is an organic kind of fertilizer. And the importance of this, it is helping the azolla to get the nutrients from your water, or from your manure, from the other fertilizers that you're going to put. It is going to be helping your azolla to absorb the nutrients much faster. So we are going to try this in different mediums. We are going to use it with hydrogen peroxide, with cow dung manure, with TSP, which is a phosphate fertilizer. Okay, then I have my TSP here. So this TSP, it is a phosphorus based fertilizer. A phosphorus based fertilizer means there is more of phosphorus than of nitrogen, calcium and other nutrients. So this one is more of phosphorus. The best thing with this, when you're growing your azolla, it's because azolla requires more of phosphate fertilizer, because it has in itself, it produces nitrogen, so it doesn't require as much nitrogen as it does with the phosphate fertilizer. So that is why we have it here. Now, so those are the materials that we are going to be using. The next thing is hydrogen peroxide. The best thing with hydrogen peroxide, or why we need it in our experiment or in our container growing of azolla, it's because Hydrogen peroxide reduces or helps to control the growth of algae. So that is why we need it in our container farming. And then we have our measuring whatever unit, yeah, to measure the things. So for you to achieve this, you need to put so the manure we are going to put 2 kg, 1 kg and a half a kg. For this we need to put this 100 grams of the humic acid in a 20-liter bucket, which is now it's good for the bigger pod. But now, because I don't know the exact amount to put in those small containers, I'm going to use the figures from that, and then I use 1 liter for the containers. I hope you're together up until that point. Same as the TSP. It's the same as TSP. So for TSP, you also put 100 grams for an 8 by 4 meter square. Is it squared? Yeah, meters pod size. So you put in a 20-liter bucket and then you put in the bigger pod. But now we are going to just put it in the small bucket and then we share it through half a liter, like that. So let us begin. I'm going to start with this so that I can remove from here because it's raining. So we are now going to measure our 100 grams of the humic acid. So we shall use these bags. It's actually cold and it's raining a little bit, but because I had decided to do this, I'm still going to do it anyway. So let's see if that's enough. So now you see why we need our guy here. So this is what we are going to use to measure. How many grams these are? So that's 60. I don't know whether it's visible from there, but that's 60. So I need to add a little bit more. To make it 100. It's dark in color. And you have to keep it free from water. Ooh, it's quite chilly. I think I'm going to put on another pullover. Again, are you sure? So that's 110. I hope that's visible. So this is 110 grams and I'm going to use it as it is, as 110, that is. So that's our 110 grams of humic acid. Let's now measure the TSP, or the phosphate fertilizer. The phosphate fertilizer is white in color or brownish. Is it brownish? I think that's enough. Oh, it's raining. Let me keep it there. Let's see how many grams this are. So it's reading 85, but I had already made this composition, so I'm not going to add. This was just for you to see how you should measure it. So that's what we are going to use, but I'm going to use the composition that I had already used before. Now the next thing to do is to now put in the water, mix with water. So we are not going to mix with water from this stage. How could you do that? No way, you were in my drum boots and you see how it's cold. How cold it is. So all my containers are currently empty, as you can see, but I have just added water. So there's only water. Now what we are going to be adding is, here I'm going to put cow dung and humic acid. Here cow dung and TSP. This is the phosphate fertilizer. Here I'm just going to put phosphate fertilizer alone. This we are going to put humic acid, cow dung, phosphate fertilizer and hydrogen peroxide. This one we're going to put humic acid alone. There I'm going to put organic fertilizer that I have prepared from home, from Tithonia, Stinging Nettle and Comfrey. And in our last option we are going to put TSP and humic acid. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So in a big container, in our huge orange container, we are going to put our cow dung here because it's big enough to fit in there. So that's a 2 kg kasuku, and then you tie it on top just like we have done on the rest of them, and then we add it there. Now the best thing for using this kind of a sack, it's going to let the nutri field, the water that with the nutrients from the cow dung to come out from this side without dirtying up the container. So let's put this. We are now going to put each and every container that needs the cow dung. So our second container is that one, and our third container is here, this one, like that. So you will notice that at first the container or our manure is floating. See, it's floating on the water, but it has not released anything yet. So what's going to happen after it gets the water, it's going to be a bit heavier than the water, so it's going to sink. It's gonna sink somehow. Okay, if it still doesn't sink, you can put in a stone to make it heavier and sink at the bottom. All right, you can put in a stone. I think that's what I'm going to do. Put in a stone so that it will be heavier than the water. But as you can see, the water is starting to change color into the the color of the manure. You see, that's now the benefit of using that, and we will not have to put up with that. Our azolla is going to be clean on top. So the same thing as this. For this, I'm going to add water. You see, you put a stone inside so that the manure will sink at the bottom. See, the water is starting to change color. That's the beauty of using that. Here we are going to put TSP alone. So this is another one that we have our, what do we call it? Our cow dung manure. So this is half a kg. This is a kg, and this is the 2 kg kasuku. You see the different sizes of the containers. Yeah. So I don't know whether I should give them time to sink or I should just add a stone immediately. You can even leave it like that. The only part that is not going to grow azolla is going to be this part, but because we don't want this, we are going to put in stones. Yeah, a heavy stone, a clean heavy stone, to make it drop down. So that is the cow dung. Those are our cow dungs. The next thing we are going to put in is the humic acid. Yeah, let's work on the humic acid.